Most guys will stay in situations way longer than they should because they're hoping things will change, or they're second-guessing themselves, or honestly, they just don't want to feel like they gave up too soon. And I get that, because walking away from someone you've invested time and energy into feels like admitting defeat, and nobody wants to be the person who couldn't make it work. But here's the thing that I think a lot of men don't fully understand, and this is something I've seen play out over and over again, both in my own dating life and just watching relationships around me. There's a massive difference between working through normal relationship friction and staying in something that's genuinely not serving you or her. What I'm talking about here are patterns, not isolated incidents. I'm talking about situations where you've genuinely tried, where you've communicated, where you've given things time, and it's still not moving in a healthy direction. And this also doesn't mean that the woman is a bad person or that you failed as a man if things don't work out. Sometimes two people are just fundamentally incompatible, and recognizing that early is actually a sign of emotional maturity, not weakness. So the first thing I want to talk about is when you notice that your needs are consistently being dismissed or minimized. And what I mean by this is not that she occasionally forgets something you mentioned or that she's had a rough week and wasn't as attentive as usual. I'm talking about a pattern where you express something that matters to you, whether that's emotional support or quality time or physical affection or even just basic respect in how she speaks to you, and it gets brushed off or turned around on you like you're being too demanding. A lot of guys will internalize this and start thinking maybe they are asking for too much, maybe they're being needy, maybe they should just toughen up and deal with it. But here's what's actually happening from a woman's perspective when this is going on. If a woman is consistently dismissing your needs, it usually means one of two things. Either she's not emotionally available enough to be in a relationship right now, or she's just not that invested in you specifically. And I know that sounds harsh, but it's important to understand because it helps you stop blaming yourself. When a woman genuinely cares about someone, she wants to understand what makes him feel valued and loved. She might not always get it right, and there might be miscommunications, but there's an underlying effort and concern. If that's missing, if every time you bring something up it turns into you being the problem, that's not something you can fix by being more understanding or more patient. That's a fundamental disconnect. I remember dating someone in college where I found myself doing exactly this, and I didn't even realize how dismissive I was being until after we broke up and I had some distance from it. He would try to talk to me about feeling like we never spent quality time together, and I would immediately get defensive and list all the times we did hang out, completely missing the point that he was talking about the quality of our connection, not the quantity of hours. And the reason I was doing that wasn't because he was wrong or being needy. It was because I wasn't actually that into the relationship anymore, but I hadn't admitted it to myself yet. So I was unconsciously creating distance and then getting annoyed when he noticed that distance. If you're experiencing this, where your legitimate needs keep getting reframed as you being the problem, it's worth asking yourself whether this person is actually available for what you're looking for. The second pattern to pay attention to is when there's a fundamental misalignment in values or life direction, and one or both of you keeps pretending it's not a big deal. This is different from having different hobbies or different taste in music. I'm talking about core values like how you view relationships, what you want in terms of commitment or family or lifestyle, how you handle conflict, how you treat other people. A lot of guys will notice these differences early on, but convince themselves that love will be enough, or that she'll change her mind, or that it won't actually matter down the line. And from a woman's perspective, we do this too. We'll ignore major incompatibilities because we like the person, or because the chemistry is good, or because we don't want to start over. But here's what tends to happen. Those core value differences don't shrink over time. They expand. They become the source of every major argument. They create resentment because both people feel like they're compromising who they fundamentally are. And eventually, one or both people wake up and realize they've been trying to force something that was never going to fit. If she's telling you from the beginning that she doesn't want kids and you definitely do, or if she's consistently showing you that her career will always come first and you're looking for a true partnership where both people prioritize the relationship, or if she handles disagreements by shutting down and disappearing while you need to talk things through, these aren't small things. These are fundamental compatibility issues. And the hardest part is that neither person is wrong. She's not wrong for wanting what she wants, And you're not wrong for wanting what you want. But that doesn't mean you should stay together hoping one of you will eventually change. Walking away in these situations isn't giving up. It's actually being honest about reality and respecting both of your needs enough to let each other find something that actually fits. Another thing that I think is really important to recognize is when the relationship brings out a version of yourself that you don't actually like. I've seen guys stay in relationships where they turned into someone they barely recognized, constantly checking their girlfriend's phone or social media because trust had been broken so many times, or walking on eggshells because any small thing could set off a huge fight, or isolating themselves from friends and family because it was easier than dealing with the conflict that came from maintaining those relationships. And what breaks my heart about this is that these are often really good guys who, in a different relationship, would be secure and trusting and connected to their people. The relationship itself, but do you, as the problem. If you're finding that you're becoming jealous, controlling, anxious, or distant in ways that don't feel like you, it's worth really examining whether this relationship is bringing out the best in both of you or the worst. And if it's consistently the worst, even after you've both tried to address it, that's a pretty clear sign that it's time to walk away. There's also something I want to mention about effort and reciprocity, because this is something that confuses a lot of guys. You might notice that you're the one always initiating, always planning, always checking in, always trying to fix things when there's tension. And for a while, you might tell yourself that you're just being the man, you're leading, you're showing her that you care. But here's the thing, and this is really important. Healthy relationships require effort from both people. It's not that it has to be perfectly equal all the time, because life happens and sometimes one person is carrying more weight for a season. But over time, over the course of months, you should feel like you're both invested, like you're both showing up, like you're both trying. If you're constantly the one reaching out and she's barely responding, or you're always suggesting plans and she's always too busy, or you're putting thought into making her feel special and you're getting the bare minimum in return, that's not a partnership. That's you auditioning for someone who's not that interested. Walking away is hard, and it takes courage, and there's no perfect time where it suddenly feels easy. But staying in something that isn't right for you doesn't serve anyone. It doesn't serve her, because she deserves someone who's fully in and fully compatible with what she needs. And it definitely doesn't serve you, because every day you spend in the wrong relationship is a day you're not available for the right one. I really believe that most people, men and women, are doing the best they can with what they know. Sometimes it's just not a match, and that's okay. Recognizing that and having the strength to walk away with honesty and respect is one of the most mature things you can do. So I want to hear from you guys. Have you ever stayed in a relationship longer than you should have? What finally made you realize it was time to walk away? Drop a comment below, because I think these conversations help all of us get clearer on what we actually want and what we're willing to accept. And if this video resonated with you or helped clarify something you've been struggling with, I'd really appreciate it if you'd give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I put out videos every week about dating and relationships from a woman's perspective, and I genuinely just want to help you guys navigate this stuff with more confidence and clarity. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.